From close wins to brutal defeats, the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai timeline hasn't been kind to its characters. But I'm gonna break it down for you so it ends up making sense. Starting off with Karate Kid. It all starts at the end of the summer of 1984. Daniel LaRusso, who's just moved to Los Angeles, goes to a beach party and meets Ali, who he starts dating.
Oh, don't worry. It looks worse than it feels, believe me.
Yeah, I hope so. Listen, I never got a chance to thank you.
Oh, no, that was nothing. I'm just sorry about your radio.
Johnny Lawrence and the Cobra Kai start to compete with Daniel because they're jealous of LaRusso and Johnny's ex, Ali. Daniel lives in the South Seas apartment complex, where Mr. Miyagi, the handyman, sees him practicing the karate he learned at the YMCA. Sometime later, Mr. Miyagi defends Daniel after he's bullied by Johnny. Together, they go to the Cobra Kai dojo and make a deal for Daniel to fight against the Cobra Kai at the All Valley Under-18 Karate Championship. Daniel-san, as Mr. Miyagi calls him, learns Miyagi-Do karate from him.
Oh, Mr. Miyagi, I forgot to give this back to you last night.
You keep.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Sir, ready?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Daniel-san must talk.
And they become close friends. After a few months, Daniel wins the All Valley Karate Championship when he manages to beat Johnny in the finals.
You're dead. Ready?
All right, Daniel!
Hey! Here we go!
Right after the competition, Kreese strikes Johnny in the car park. Mr. Miyagi saves Johnny and embarrasses Kreese during a fight. The Cobra Kai students all leave Kreese and the Cobra Kai dojo is closed down. I have to say, this is one of the best movies of its time. It lays the groundwork for not only the Karate Kid sequels, but Cobra Kai the show as well.
I want to finish what we started.
Finish what we started. Just like we were supposed to do 35 years ago? Before you vanished?
I was in a bad place. There's no question about that.
This movie's followed by The Karate Kid Part 2. It takes place in 1985, sometime after Daniel's victory. Ali breaks up with Daniel, heartbreaking, I know, but that's only the beginning. Mr. Miyagi receives news from Okinawa that his father's terminally ill. He goes for a visit and Daniel goes with him using his college funds. There they meet Sato and his nephew, Chozen, and they develop a grudge against Daniel and Miyagi. Daniel wins a bet against Chozen for which he gets paid a good amount of money that becomes his college fee. Later, a hurricane strikes Okinawa, and Daniel manages to save a bunch of people, including Sato, unlike Chozen, who doesn't make the effort. Chozen later attacks Daniel and demands a fight to the death between the two. The fight happens, and Daniel defeats Chozen using Miyagi-Do's drum technique.
Step back, Daniel-san! Step back!
Although this movie doesn't beat the original, it was still pretty good. Truth be told, the next movie is where things get out of hand. I'm talking about The Karate Kid Part 3. This movie is set in the same year as the second part. When the duo returns from Okinawa, they see that Daniel's apartments have been converted to condominiums, resulting in Mr. Miyagi being jobless. Daniel uses college funds once again and opens a bonsai tree store with the sensei. John Kreese is back and turns to an old friend, Terry Silver, for help. Terry recruits Mike Barnes as a Cobra Kai star fighter who constantly harasses Daniel any chance he gets. Terry later befriends Daniel and slowly poisons him against Mr. Miyagi in his ways and makes him join Cobra Kai. Although Daniel realizes what's happening pretty quickly and returns to Mr. Miyagi, who trains him for the upcoming All Valley tournament, Daniel only fights in the final as he's the defending champion and defeats Mike Barnes. Turns out Terry and John had been teaching unfair, dangerous moves to their students, which some of them used, resulting in a ban for Cobra Kai from the tournament. This was a crazy movie, and also the one that concluded Daniel's journey as Mr. Miyagi's student. Now, there is another title named The Next Karate Kid after this, but it doesn't include Daniel and doesn't fit into the overall narrative. So I'll just skip that part and tell you about Cobra Kai Season 1. The show picks up many years later in 2017, and to say that a lot has changed would be an understatement. Daniel's married to a woman named Amanda, and they have two children, Samantha and Anthony. The couple runs a car dealership business that's extremely extremely successful, but Mr. Miyagi has sadly passed away. Johnny, on the other hand, is a drunkard who's divorced and doesn't even know where his biological son Robbie Keene is. Miguel Diaz is born to a woman named Carmen, but doesn't know who his father is. As the season starts, Johnny loses his job, which results in him reopening Cobra Kai after he runs into Daniel LaRusso years after the fight. He then recruits his neighbor Miguel as his first student and trains him to stand up to his bullies, which he does pretty impressively, I might add. Robbie, on the other hand, wants to mess with his father, so he starts working for Daniel, who also starts to train him in karate after seeing some potential in him. Miguel registers for the All Valley tournament, and so does Robbie after Johnny gets the ban on Cobra Kai lifted. Miguel defeats Robbie in the final, which leads to Daniel reopening Miyagi-Do to counter Johnny in the Cobra Kai. And of course, how can I not talk about the return of John Kreese? This season leads to a series of fights, betrayals, and bonds formed and broken in the following seasons. Speaking of which, let's go over Cobra Kai seasons 2 and 3. Season 2 opens with Johnny allowing Kreese to rejoin Cobra Kai. Miyagi-Do has 2 new recruits, Robbie and Samantha. Eli, also known as Hawk, becomes stronger as a member of Cobra Kai, and they also have Tori as a fierce new fighter. The season goes back and forth with both the dojos going at each other in different situations. The season ends with a devastating twist. There's a brawl at the school in which Tori severely injures Samantha, while Robbie, showing no mercy, kicks Miguel off the ledge, leaving him critically injured and hospitalized. Kreese, using Johnny's grief, completely takes over Cobra Kai and Daniel closes Miyagi-Do. And I have to say, this was quite the season finale. It had the fans practically dying for more. And well, season 3 delivered. In the next season, Miguel wakes up from his coma and starts therapy, slowly regaining control of his legs. Robbie's placed in juvenile detention and joins Cobra Kai after being released. With the advice of Daniel, Johnny opens Eagle Fang Karate, a new dojo with ex-Cobra Kai members. The All Valley tournament gets canceled, after which there's a huge brawl at the LaRusso house, in which Hawk turns on Cobra Kai to join the good side, and Daniel, along with Johnny, later fight Kreese. A fight in which Daniel nearly kills him, if I might add. They make a deal with Kreese that they'll settle this in the next All Valley tournament, and whichever team loses will leave the Valley for good. These 2 seasons were absolutely crazy, and the fights were impressive. This directly connects to the next 2 seasons. How's that? In season 4, Kreese brings back Terry, but he's a different man now and is even more ruthless. There are new boys and girls divisions in the All Valley tournament now, so Hawk defeats Robbie in the boys' final, becoming the champion, while Terry pays off the referee to make Tori win against Samantha. With the overall points being in Cobra Kai's favor, they win the tournament. Miguel leaves for Mexico to find his real dad. Silver betrays Kreese and has him framed and arrested for a crime and completely takes over Cobra Kai. Chosen returns to help Daniel at the end. Season 5 again is a frenzy of fights and twists and turns. Terry brings in new fighters and terrorizes the main characters. They make their bones with him at the end though. Daniel shows everyone proof of Terry using unfair means, leading the fighters to abandon Cobra Kai. And wait for it, he then defeats him in a one-on-one. All seems happy and good in the Valley, but then comes the twist. John Kreese breaks out of prison. What an ending to a brilliant season. I can't wait to see where this crazy timeline goes next. Can you?
I share your concern, but I'm not worried.